Okay, everybody, today we are doing with inequality for quadratic and absolute value. So let's remind you about quadratic. We have f of x equal x squared. This is nothing but y. So y equal x squared. The shape for quadratic, if you remember, that look like a U shape. And then we also do absolute value. We see f of x, this is nothing but just y again. And the shape for this one going to be a letter V, look like a V shape. We would like to remind you about the inequality notation. I have this mean less than, so this is less, and then we have the opposite that will be more. The way I always remember that is I always take my hand out. If I have my left hand, that's going to be less. And then if I have my right hand, then the opposite of that is more. I hold my hand up so I can look for the side. Less is left, like just like the letter L. And then the opposite of that, I have more, just the opposite. We also have less than and equal to, greater than and equal to. The trick is if you have an equal to, then the line gonna be a solid line because you include the point. And if I do not have an equal underneath, then the line gonna be a dot line. So just keep that in mind. This is gonna be dotted and then this is gonna be solid line. Now, how can we grab absolute values and quadratic inequality? So that's gonna be part one, grabbing them. Yeah, for example, when we're dealing with absolute value, in order for you to grab them in exactly the same way we've been doing, step one, we're gonna move everything to the x squared or absolute value sign. They are our priority, so we're gonna make sure to move everything to that sign. So meaning I'm gonna move this one over. This guy doesn't move, so I'm gonna stay exactly the same. I do not change the sign. The only time I change the signs is when I'm moving. So one coming over is gonna give me -1. Okay, so the sign changed. I did that. I moved everything to one side. I changed the sign. I keep everything at the same if you did not move in. Once it's gone, so it's giving me 0. And we talk about this all the time. We're going to change 0 to y. If you do not change 0 to y, you're going to see two straight lines, but we want to see the V shape that we want. In order for us to grab that, I'm going to go ahead and grab it over here. What do you expect the line going to be? Dots or solid? So let's take a quick look. I'm gonna put it over here. I have x -3. I'm gonna get out of this one. I put -1 and they said greater than. So you find a greater than right here. And again, if you put 0, you're gonna see two straight lines. We don't want that. We wanna change it to y just so we can see the V shape. As you can see right here, we talk about that. This is a greater than, so the line gonna be a dotted line. Okay, perfect. So we have that. That's how you grab it. Let's go ahead and take a look at the next example, example number 2. F of x greater than and equal to x squared minus 4. Okay, if I have c f of x, I'm just going to change it to y, but we already know that. Everything else look good. Everybody's already in one sign. We don't have to move y over. It's good like that. So we just go in to grab them. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to exit out this one. I have to put y greater than and equal is right here. Get what we're gonna see, that's a solid this time. It's gonna be x and then square minus 4. Okay, and we got that, wonderful. And this is a solid line. So that's how you grab inequality on DESMOS. Now our lesson today, if we go into grab them and we're gonna read the solution. So that's gonna be our goal today. So what is a solution? When we did with equation, we talk about solution at where it crossed the x-axis, right? So for example, I'm gonna remind you about here. So I'm gonna do it on the side. Whenever we try to grab them, we've been doing the past, how many times they cross the x-axis, that is how many solutions we have. So this is equation, right? So this is equation, have one solution. So this is a equation. But now we are doing inequality. Inequality is all about the shading area. So the solution are still going to be the same way. So I have a little note right here for you to take. So solutions is where the shading cross the x-axis. So we just have to look for where they cross the x-axis in order for us to do it. So here we go. So solution is where the shading cross the x-axis. So now I would like for you guys to look at this example number 1. Look for that blue picture. Where do you think the solution crossed the x-axis? Okay, I'm gonna draw the x-axis out. So we're gonna look at that together. first I have to look for the special point first. So my first special point is right here, which is going to give me at -2. And then I have another special point, 1, 2, and 3. I will put that on our number lines, and I'm just going to shade in what I see. So the first shading that I see is start from the left. So from here to here. That's going to be my other shading. That's going to be from 3 over here. Solutions is where across the x-axis. So any points in here is your solution. So when we look at the solution, we only look at the x-axis only. So let's go ahead and write it down. So if you can see, this is to the left, right? To the left of -2, that means I'm going to have x. And it's going to left mean less. That's going to be less than -2. The line going to be a solid, so I have to put an equal underneath. Over here, this is to the right. I'm on the right, right, of 3. That means I'm more. So we're going to have x again greater than 3. And this is a solid line, so I have them equal. Okay, so that's how we do it. Let's pause it right here. If you did not see it, I would like for you to pause it and replay it. And a matter of fact, I think I'm going to rewrite it in different color just so easier for you to see. So look at the shading, right? The shading is on the left of -2. That means the solution going to be x less than, because I'm on the left, so I'm less. So less than -2. I put an equal, but this is a solid line. Solid. You might do it on the side just so you can see. See a solid line, and there's gonna be a dashed line or dotted. So when it's solid, it's greater than and equal to, less than and equal to, like this, less than, without that. And over here, I'm on the right. So if I'm on the right, that means I'm more. So x greater than 3 and equal. So let me also write it down. This, if you're on the left, that means you are less or less than and equal to. If you're on the right, if the graph is on the right or the shadings is on the right, that means you are more or greater than and equal to, depend on the dash of the solid, okay? All right, so that's looking wonderful. Let's go ahead and give it a try. So the solution areas right here is x less than equal to 2, or it could be or, because it could be any solutions in here right now. It could be anything. So that's your solution area. I'm gonna go ahead and give it a try. So number 2. So let's draw number lines again. Look for the special point. So my special points in here is, if I'm looking at the number line, it's gonna be right here and here. So I see that 1 is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. -5. So that's in my special points. And then I'm gonna have another special points is at 1. Okay, I'm like to shade in the solution where I see it. So I see the shadings is in here, right? So this one, I only have one shading. Here you can see you have 2 shading. You have shading 1, shading 2, right? Here I only have one shading. My shading running from number -5 to 1. That means I have 2 boundary. My starting point is -5. My end point is at 1. So this is how I'm gonna write it. -5, as you know, this is less than, right? -5 is less than 1. So I'm gonna put less like this, and I put the x in between because I'm talking about the x-axis right now. Solutions is where I cross the x-axis. I put the x in between. This is a dotted line. So that's why I do not have an equal underneath, okay? So as you can see, the quick way for you to look at it and remember it, that I have 2 shading, 1 shading, 2 shading, then I have 2, like I have to write it twice, 1 from the left, 1 from the right. If I only have 1 shading, this is only 1 shading, right? Then I only have 1 interval solution from one point to another point, okay? All right, so here we go. So what I'm going to do next is the next example. I'm gonna draw the x-axis one more time again. I'm always gonna draw the x-axis because that's where the solution is. Now look at the shading. We do see the shading here, but does the shading cross the x-axis at all? Does it even touch? No, right? So the shading doesn't touch. That means I have no solution. All right, so now I'm going to have this one. So when I look for the shading, let's see the x-axis again. If you can see the shading right here, this is the entire shading. It crossed through the entire x-axis, right? So I'm gonna shade all of them. If it go to entire x-axis, that means I have many solutions. So this is gonna be a many solution scenario. So many solution, okay? So these are the four examples you're gonna see over and over today. So I hope that you take note, write it down in your notebook so you have the picture, and then you're gonna use it to do the next one. So let's go ahead and get started. So I'm gonna show you how to do each of the example one by one. It's extremely doable, trust me. Take note though, don't torture your brain. So here we go. Have your note with you so it's easier for you to remember. Okay, so I have the first question. And I'm gonna have my DESMOS on the side. So it's ready for me to go. Okay, so the first one I'm going to do is, this is a quadratic, right? X squared. All right, so the first one I'm going to do with you, practice make better, guys. So I'm gonna do this one right here with you. And this is a quadratic situation. So let's do it. I have, again, my step one, I have to make sure I move everything to x squared sign. So I'm gonna move it over here. This guy doesn't move, so I leave it the same way. So I have x squared plus x. I move the 6 over, so now the 6 become -6. When you move, the sign change, right? I'm gonna do a different color so you can see it, -6. This guy doesn't move, so I bring it down exactly the same way. So less than and equal to. 6 is gone, it becomes 0. We change 0 to y. So let's go ahead and grab them and let's look for that shading area. So I have x squared plus x minus 6 less than and equal to is right here, and then that's the y. Okay, first, as you can see, the line going to be a solid line, and you're gonna look for that special point, right? So my special points is here, that's the first one, that where the cross the x-axis, and the other point. Okay, I like to draw is on the number lines that you can see how many shading do we have. We only have one shading. By one shading, as you can see, that's only one shading from here to here. But I would like to draw a number line for you to see. So I'm gonna draw a number line. My special points is from -3. My end points is at 2. So I have one shading. Here we go. The keywords is one shading. So I can cross out the answer that doesn't have one shading. This have two shading, 1 and 2. Connect by the word or. So this already not an answer already. This not going to be an answer either because it's all real number. It doesn't make sense. All real numbers is when you cross through the entire x-axis. Look like that. The shading completely overlap. No real solutions at all, meaning you don't have anything shaded. So this also no. So process of eliminations already really have because it help you find the answer already. However, if not, you still can write your answer because let's take a look at that. I have -3 is less than 2, right? And then you put starting from -3 and a 2, just like we did with the domain, we squeeze the x in between. This is gonna be a solid line. So that's why you have to make sure you have the equal underneath and boom, that's my answer right there, okay? So this is A. I hope that makes sense. Let's go ahead and give it a try to the next one. Pause it right here. If you don't get it, you can watch it again. So the next example is very much similarly. I have this one right here, find the solution. Let's check to everything already together. This is 0, then no need to move. We already have what we want, 0. Just make sure you change 0 to y, okay? If you do not change 0 to y, you're gonna see a straight line. Will still be okay, technically still be okay, but we wanna see the shape just so you can remember how it looked like. +4, greater than, again, the line gonna be dashed or solid. This is greater than, so it's gonna be a dash. Okay, I'm gonna show you again. If I leave it at 0, you wouldn't see anything. But if I leave it at y, you're gonna see the shape that you wanna see. This is gonna be y, okay? And the line gonna be a dash line. Okay, but all I really care is where across the x-axis, correct? So I'm gonna keep zooming. Does the parabola giving you a dash line, but the shading, does the shading cross to the x-axis? Look at the shading, look at the green. Yes, it crossed through the entire area, right? It crossed through, it overlapped. It's all about the shading, it's all about the shading. So the shading, the color, it crossed through the entire x-axis. So in that reason, I'm just gonna color all of them. So what one is my answer? All real number, yes. Just like that, okay? Because it crossed through the entire x-axis. So to see the x-axis, the shading crossed through the entire x-axis. Okay. That means you have many solutions. My answer could be here, 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 anywhere in here in the x-axis. So it's really, at the end of the day, it's just really about grabbing them and find where they cross the x-axis. So let's go ahead and try 2 more, okay? Oh, we have this one right here. Again, you do exactly the same deal. I'm gonna move to where I see the absolute value. That's my priority, so I move this over. This guy doesn't move, so I'm gonna keep it exactly the same way. 6 minus 2x plus 8. I'm moving this over, so 24 become negative 24. Yes, I did not move this sign, so I'm just gonna brought it down exactly the way they are. So greater than, and then this going to be 0. It's gone. Again, we change 0 to y, right? So make sure you do that. Here we go, change 0 to y. Stay consistent. The more consistent you are, the longer you're going to remember. So here we go. I'm going to have 4. Absolute values is right here. So 6 minus 2x plus 8 minus 24. I'm not going to simplify or anything. I'm just leave it like that, greater than and equal to y. Okay. We already talked about it. This is a solid line, so you see the equal underneath. Again, it's really about where across the x-axis. Does the shading cross through the x-axis? Yes, it's there. So click on the thing to find the special number. That is 1 and 5. Okay, now you're gonna do on a number line. This is 1, this is 5. How many shading do you see? 2 of them, one from the left, right? And then another one from the right of 5. That means how many shading do I have? That means I have 2 shading. This is 2 shading, right? Then I'm just going to look for the answer that have 2 shading. So obviously it cannot be this, because this is 1 shading. This is also 1 shading. The only 2 shading that I have is this guy, but obviously there's not -1, not 7, because my special numbers is 1 and 5. So that's going to be my answer. Still, I would like for you to understand how we do that. If you're on the left, that means you are less. So you are less, so x less than and equal to 1. I'm on the right, that means I'm more. So x greater than and equal to 5. As simple as that, less, more. It's really about being able to read your graph and where the shading cross, okay? All right, save the best for last. We have the last example to do. We have this scenario right here brought to you. So how can I do it? Again, I'm gonna make sure I move everything to this to one sign, and we always move it to the absolute value or x squared sign. So in this case, I'm gonna move this guy over. All right. Okay, so when you move, make sure you change the sign. Here's the thing, this guy did not move and it stay here first. So you just brought it down. You don't change the plate, you just brought it down. I move the -10, so it's become a +10. And right here, I'm just gonna drop the signs again. Knowing that this guy doesn't move, so I move everything, drop it down exactly the way it E. -10 come over, so no number left, it's gonna be 0. And again, what do? We change 0 to y, okay? So I'm gonna type this into the equation, so I'm gonna have to see what it looked like. So I have y greater than absolute value of 6x minus 12. And then I'm gonna get out of that and I put +10. Whoa, so this is the picture that I have. Now, as you can see, you have a dashed line, but it's really about whether the shading cross the x-axis. Does the x-axis, does the shading cross to the x-axis? No, it doesn't cross through the x-axis at all. It's completely empty, no shading, right? So for that reason, how many solutions do we have? No solution, as simple as that. So this is what this lesson today is about. It's really about grabbing them and read for the solution. There are 4 scenarios right here. I really hope that makes sense to you. Watch this video again if you do not get it, and also ask me for help. Okay, I will always be there for you. Take care. Bye.